Imagine this. In a world where maps were as rare and mysterious as magic, one man bet everything on a dream that could have easily been a nightmare. This is the story of Ferdinand Magellan, a man who believed he could find a path no one had ever dared to follow before a route to the Spice Islands that would change the world forever. But what if his entire plan was built on a colossal mistake? What if the map he trusted was as faulty as a compass in a storm? This is a tale of ambition, betrayal, and the incredible journey of a man who refused to believe the world was flat. In the early 16th century, the world was a much larger and more mysterious place. Europe was in the grip of the Age of Exploration, a time when brave and sometimes desperate sailors set out to find new lands, new trade routes, and untold riches. Among these adventurers was Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer who had served his king with distinction, but found himself at odds with the Portuguese court. Frustrated and ambitious, he turned to Spain, where he believed he could find a sponsor for his grand plan. Magellan's idea was simple yet audacious. He claimed that he could find a passage through the uncharted southern tip of the Americas, a strait that would lead directly to the Pacific Ocean and, ultimately, to the Spice Islands. These islands, rich in spices like cloves, nutmeg, and pepper, were the ultimate prize in the global trade network. Whoever controlled them would control the wealth of the world. Magellan was convinced that this passage existed and that the Moluccas, the Spice Islands, belonged to Spain, not Portugal. But here's the shocking part: Magellan was wrong. His confidence was based on faulty maps and flawed calculations. The islands he sought were actually on Portugal's side of the line, and the strait he was so sure he could find didn't exist where he thought it did. Yet his unwavering belief in his mission was so strong that it convinced the Spanish court to back him. King Charles I of Spain, eager to challenge Portugal's dominance in the spice trade, agreed to fund Magellan's expedition. Magellan's journey began on September 20th, 1519, when he set sail from Seville with a fleet of 5 ships and a crew of about 270 men. The fleet was a mix of seasoned sailors and novices, including Magellan's brother-in-law, Duarte Barbosa, and a skilled pilot named Esteve Gomes. The crew was as diverse as the ships were small, with men from Spain, Portugal, Italy, and even Germany and England. They were united by a common goal: to find the fabled strait and reach the Spice Islands. From the start, the journey was fraught with challenges. Magellan's partnership with the astronomer Ruy Falero, who had helped him secure the Spanish king's support, quickly turned sour. Falero, who had never been to sea, insisted on sharing command, which could have doomed the expedition. Magellan, a skilled and experienced navigator, knew that a divided leadership would be disastrous. How he managed to outmaneuver Falero remains a mystery, but it was a crucial turning point. Falero was either declared insane or given command of a second expedition that never sailed, leaving Magellan in sole control. The first leg of the journey was relatively smooth, but as the fleet sailed down the coast of South America, tensions began to rise. Magellan's crew, many of whom were loyal to Spain, resented being led by a Portuguese captain. The 3 young Spanish captains in particular were suspicious and resentful. They began to believe the rumors spread by the Portuguese consul in Seville, Sebastián Alvarez, who claimed that Magellan was a double agent planning to defect to Portugal with the entire fleet. These rumors nearly led to a mutiny, and Magellan had to use all his skill and authority to keep the crew in line. As they sailed further south, the weather turned against them. The cold and storms of the South Atlantic took a toll on the ships and the men. Supplies began to run low and morale plummeted. But Magellan's iron will kept the expedition moving forward. Finally, in October 1520, after months of searching, they found what Magellan had been looking for: a narrow passage through the southern tip of South America. It was not the wide and easy strait he had expected, but a treacherous and winding waterway that would come to be known as the Strait of Magellan. Navigating the strait was a nightmare. The waters were filled with hidden rocks and strong currents, and the crew had to fight against the elements every step of the way. But after 38 days of struggle, they emerged into the vast, calm waters of the Pacific Ocean. Magellan named it the Pacific because of its peaceful appearance, a stark contrast to the turmoil they had just endured. The journey across the Pacific was even more grueling. The fleet was running low on food and water, and scurvy began to take its toll on the crew. Many men died, and the survivors were on the brink of despair. But Magellan, driven by his unshakable belief in his mission, kept them going. After 98 days at sea, they finally reached the islands of the Philippines. Here, Magellan made a tragic mistake. He became involved in a local conflict, and during a battle with the natives, he was killed. Without their leader, the remaining ships continued the journey under the command of Juan Sebastián Elcano, one of the Spanish captains. They finally reached the Spice Islands, but the fleet had been reduced to just one ship, the Victoria, with a mere 18 survivors. Despite the losses, they had achieved something incredible. They had completed the first circumnavigation of the globe. Magellan's journey, though marked by errors and tragedy, was a testament to human determination and the spirit of exploration. His mistake in believing the Strait and the Spice Islands were on Spain's side did not diminish the significance of his achievement. He had opened a new route to the Pacific, and his expedition had proven that the world was indeed round and connected in ways no one had imagined. In the end, Magellan's legacy is not just the discovery of a new route, but the courage to pursue a dream, even when the odds were against him. His story is a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come from the most unlikely places, and that the human spirit can overcome even the most daunting challenges.